The fire that made a hero, the courage of Nellie Barry. In the summer of 1886, in the small, quiet Belmont district of Cambridge, Massachusetts, a young girl became the unlikely hero of a tragedy that could have easily turned deadly. 10-year-old Nellie Barry, the eldest of 5 children, had already been shouldering a burden far beyond her years. 3 months earlier, Nellie's mother, Mrs. Edward Barry, had passed away, worn down by hard work and exposure. Her death left Nellie to care for her 4 younger brothers, with only the meager earnings of their father, a laborer on the Fitchburg Railroad, to sustain them. Her father, though kind-hearted, struggled with alcohol, leaving Nellie to manage the household on her own. At just 10 years old, Nellie had become the family's housekeeper, feeding and clothing her brothers with the little money they had. Every night, after tending to her brothers and putting them to bed, she would wait patiently for her father to come home. On one particular night, the air was thick with heat. Nellie had fanned her brothers to sleep, sung them lullabies, and prepared her father's supper, leaving it warming on the stove. The clock ticked on, marking the slow crawl of time as she waited, but her father did not return. As the hours passed, Nellie grew increasingly worried. She knew her father had likely been drinking, and as 9 o'clock came and went, she made the decision to go out and search for him. She wandered the nearby streets, hoping to find him, but to no avail. Exhausted and disheartened, she returned to their small cottage. Despite her determination to stay awake, fatigue from the day's hard work and the oppressive heat weighed her down. She sat in a chair near the kitchen and soon drifted into a deep sleep. Nellie awoke to a nightmare. The sound of crashing timber jolted her from her slumber, and as her eyes opened, she was met with a sight that would have terrified anyone, let alone a 10-year-old child. The entire end of the house was engulfed in flames, and thick clouds of smoke were pouring into every room. Panic might have paralyzed most children in her situation, but Nellie acted without hesitation. She didn't stop to think her brothers' lives depended on her. The details of what she did first were lost in the chaos, but when the first neighbor arrived at the scene, they found Nellie stumbling out of the burning house, clutching the last of her brothers in her arms. The other 3 boys, aged 2, 4, and 6, were already lying on the grass in front of the house, safe in their nightclothes. Thanks to their sister's incredible bravery, her eldest brother, Jimmy, later recounted the moment he saw Nellie enter the inferno. Despite the flames and smoke, she had come upstairs, lifted each of her brothers one by one, and carried them out of the burning house to safety. Her face was singed and her hair scorched by the heat, but she was otherwise unharmed. It was only when she had ensured the safety of all her brothers that she allowed herself to collapse in exhaustion. The smaller children had slept through the entire ordeal, unaware of the danger, until their father stumbled home, drunk, alongside the fire brigade. The fire had likely started from a stray spark from an engine, catching in a nearby barn before spreading to the Barry home. By the time the firemen arrived, the damage was done, but Nellie had saved what mattered most: her family. With the house reduced to smoldering ruins, Nellie and her brothers were taken to their aunt's home in the Dublin district. Word of her bravery spread quickly, and soon the little heroine found herself showered with praise and admiration. Neighbors, friends, and even strangers marveled at the courage of the 10-year-old who had risked her life to save her siblings.